Hello again everyone, it's Nature Girl Gaming, and today I'm going to be talking about an unfinished book I made when I was 10. So this is a very, very strange book, and all I have is the script. Like, there's no chapter breaks. I just know kind of the idea of what was going to happen based on a Google Doc that I recently found. So let's get into the weirdness and madness of the story that I call The Cold Winter. So it starts off with a little raptor hatching out of an egg, and we get a bit of narration explaining how the raptors work. These raptors live in a large area that's surveyed by humans and not interfered with except for a special occasion that happens one time for each litter of eggs. And we'll get into that occasion later. There are two kinds of raptors that are in the same pack, the thin feathers and the bold claws. I think the bold claws were their name. Yes, they were. The fin feathers have a band of feathers going along their forehead and neck, and they also have streamlined bodies, making them much faster. They have brighter colors that come in blues, purples, and greens, and the fin feathers are the lead hunters and also scout for predators. And then the bold claws have no feathers and have a bigger body shape in general, and they have sharper claws and teeth, but their size makes them unable to move and run as fast as thin feathers. So that means that they're the main fighters and guards to keep the pack safe, while the rest of the pack hunts, and they're normally a range of pinks, reds, yellows, and whites. The two groups, while working together, however, are often hostile towards each other, and it's unheard of for one of each group to become mates. So anyways, here's our protagonist, Violet. She is a thin feather because both of her parents are thin feathers as well. I don't know why. I'm like reading this off of the actual script. I wrote thin fighters. It's thin feathers. But for some reason, she has sharper claws and teeth than most thin feathers. She has a brother named Spark who has slightly bigger legs than most thin feathers. And basically, they are just like, nobody brings this up at all. Just nobody brings it up because then the story would be unable to happen. But meanwhile, in the other group, the bold claws, two other raptors have hatched, and they had hatched a few days before, and both of them look just like bold claws, and one is called Snow and one is Biter. I have no idea where I came up with that name. Then there's sudden time skip to when Violet is old enough to leave camp. I assume that part of the beginning was supposed to be a prologue, but all I have is the base storyline, like I said before, so I have no idea where a chapter ends and the other begins. So Violet bumps into Snow and they talk for a while. Snow's pretty nice. Like, they're pretty nice to Violet, and she decides that she likes them. But then an older raptor named Wise, I don't know why I named them Wise, maybe just because they're older, brings up that winter is coming and that many raptors are going to die, and makes sure to tell Violet that if the winter is harsh enough that some raptors are too hungry to hunt, then people start killing other people, and it's just plain survival, and no one shows any mercy at that point, and they just don't care because there are no laws if it gets to that point, because they're just all so hungry, which is really dumb, but it's how it works. So that scares Violet, and she goes back to her mom and falls asleep. And when she wakes up, there's fresh snow on the ground, and Violet confides to her mother what she heard from Wise. Her mom tells her not to worry because Wise is remembering a long time ago, and that winter has not gotten anywhere near that bad for years. So Violet goes outside to play and meets Snow's father, Lime, for some reason spelled Lyme, I don't know why. And Violet realizes that Lime is really mean after she goes too close to him and he snaps at her tail. Which, it kind of makes sense since they're different species, but still, why can't you just work together like you do in your jobs? It's like all passive-aggressive, kind of. So she goes to talk to Snow about his dad, but Snow's talking with his mother, Ivy, and out the corner of her eye, Violet sees her mother watching Ivy with jealousy. So we don't know why, and then suddenly there's another time skip. I'm assuming that I was planning on writing stuff in between all of this, but I'm honestly not sure. I think that this is just the base storyline, and I was going to have filler stuff. So then another time skip happens, and the prey is running out, and Violet and Spark are ready to take their hunting assessments along with Snow and Biter, and they go out into the forest to hunt alone. At a certain time in a hatchling's life, a bunch of cats are released into the raptor enclosure, and all the hatchlings compete to try and kill the most. I don't know where I got this idea. Just this is the one occasion that I was talking about with the humans interfering. For some reason, the humans just put a bunch of cats in the enclosure at a certain time. It makes no sense whatsoever, and I don't know why. I just needed some specific character that would be about the same size as them, since they're really young. So basically, whoever catches the least is literally killed. So lots riding on this for Violet, and she managed to catch 2 cats before getting into a fight with Biter over a third one. Biter claws Violet's leg, and she ends up getting a permanent limp. But Violet retaliates by biting down... I lost my spot. By biting down their chest, but Violet topples over and accidentally bites their throat and kills them. The competition ends, and Violet pretends as if she does not know where Biter is, and everyone else assumes that a cat must have killed them, because that's totally possible. Like, even if they were the weakest of the 4, which they were, I don't think that's possible, especially since they were a bold claw. So Violet, Spark, and Snow can now hunt with the pack and guard the camp, depending on what they are. So then, another time skip. Everyone is starving and dying of frostbite suddenly. And Violet gets into a fight with Wise over a moss blanket that Violet had found that Wise was trying to steal. And by the way, by moss blanket, they're, like, much smarter than the wolves and stuff. They know how to, like, not knit, but they know how to collect moss together and then dry it and then get it wet again in, like, some form of way to make a blanket out of it. This is really weird. I think that it's based on an imaginary game that I used to play. It's just so weird. So then Snow attacks Wise and kills him, and then it is a complete bloodbath as raptors leap in to eat Wise's dead body because that's the only food they've seen in a while that's decent and hasn't been stolen from them. And, like, they're just getting, like, hurt. So Violet is just disgusted and grabs the moss blanket before anyone else can, and then just runs away from the bloodbath. And then in the end, 2 more raptors that no one actually knew, both Thin Feathers, end up dead, and Wise's body is completely gone, including the bones. Also, like, why? I get that it's winter, but this is the perfect example. And why did the mom lie, and why does the mom not have a name? So then, 2 days later, another time skip. Violet is starving, and just as she manages to catch a rabbit, the biggest prey that the pack has seen in days, 3 older raptors gang up on her, Ivy and Lime, along with a slightly younger raptor about double her size named Ruby, and they all beat her up and take her rabbit, which is really mean, but I guess it makes sense. And Violet can't fight back very well because of her leg being permanently wounded from her fight with Biter. So over the next few days, Ruby continues bullying her, taking her moss blankets and snapping at her whenever she goes near any food. And one day, Violet is hunting near a cliff and spots a deer in their calf. Yay! But before she can get it, Ruby darts in and kills the mother, and the fawn just runs away. I don't know where they went. No one actually ever goes after them. They may have just run off the cliff. So Violet attacks Ruby, and then they both fall off the cliff, but Violet catches herself on a branch and climbs back up. She hits the deer without hesitation or a glance back to the cliff. She's starting to be converted to the winter raptors, oh no. And then a few days later, she becomes mates with Snow. After finding out that she's expecting his eggs. This just happened. They haven't even talked in a while, except for, like, about Ruby. And this has just happened. So then her mother is noticeably concerned and angry and then pulls her out of camp. And then this is where it gets weird. I don't know why this was my plan. It's weird. So Violet learns that Snow is her half-brother and Lime is her father, making this whole book leading up to the main conflict of incest for some reason. I don't know. So Snow and Violet break up, of course, and Snow stops standing up for her, and he's noticeably grossed out by Violet and her unborn hatchlings because of their relation, literally making these hatchlings' dad also their half-uncle. So Violet lays 3 eggs, but while she's out hunting, she has no mate to make sure that the eggs are safe, and it's still winter, apparently, for some reason. Why is it still winter? So when she gets back, 2 of her eggs have been literally eaten by a crowd of raptors. And then luckily one of the eggs rolled out of the nest and ends up hatching. And Violet now has a daughter named Soot, who she keeps very close in case of the pack attacking and eating Soot. So Soot grows up, and by now winter has ended, luckily, and the killing has stopped. But then, and I don't know what happens after this, and it kind of bothers me. Like, this is like the feeling when you're having a dream, and then a really cool thing's about to happen, and then you wake up and you never know what was gonna happen. Because, like, Violet is killed by the river mysteriously. And then a few days later, Soot kills Snow. And I think I was planning on this being Snow killed Violet, and then Soot found out and killed Snow. But I'm unsure if this was actually my intent, or if my memory filled this out. But I'm pretty sure that's what was going to happen. I just don't know what this thing was. That's where I had ended it. For some reason, I had never continued. But I think it's very confusing. It could be a really good plot. In the comments below, actually, let me know if you want me to kind of remake this plot. I just dropped something. But let me know if you kind of want me to remake this plot into an actual book that I might read on my channel. And you guys already know all the plot twists now. But I could try to make this into a real book. Try and get back the thing I dropped. And that might be pretty interesting, I guess, maybe. I don't know how I would do it, but this could actually be a really good plot. I don't know why it randomly ended up with that conclusion of just Violet being dead and how it switches to Soot's point of view. But I think I could probably remake this into an actually good book that wouldn't be a series but would just be a standalone book. So in the comments below, let me know if you would be interested in that. I might be able to make one. And I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.